Hello, check, check. Hello, hello, check, check. Hello, hello, check, check. Hello, hello, check, hello, check, check, check. Hello, check, check. Hello, hello, check, check. Hello, hello, check, check. Hello, check.
Check, check, hello, check, check, hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, I request all to please rise. Our distinguished guests for today's ceremony have arrived. Mr. Venugopal C. Govind, Chairman of Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Kochi, Mr. Dinesh P. Thambi, Vice President and Delivery Center Head of TCS Kerala, Ms. Sujata Madhav Chandran, Head of Strategic Initiative TCS, Mr. Rajesh Nair, Eminent Speaker and Partner at EY, Mr. Shrimad PR, Chairman, FISAT Governing Body, Dr. Jacob Thomas, Principal, FISAT, Dr. Mini PR, Vice Principal, FISAT, and Dr. Unikartha, Dean Academics. I request all the dignitaries to make their way to the stage and kindly be seated. Distinguished dignitaries on and off the dais, esteemed faculty members, and dear students. Good morning to you all. I'm Chitra K. Sunil.
And I am Nisha Rajan, your host for today's ceremony. It is indeed a profound honor to welcome you to this special occasion as we gather to pay tribute to the remarkable leader, Padma Vibhushan, Sri Ratan Tata.
Today, we celebrate the legacy of visionary whose values of integrity, compassion, and innovation have shaped not only the corporate world, but also the fabric of our society. As proud MBA students at FISAT Business School, with the invaluable experience of working at Tata Consultancy Services, we both share a deep and personal connection to the visionary leadership and values exemplified by Sri Ratan Tata. It is our honor to host today's proceedings as we celebrate his remarkable contribution and the lasting impact he had on each of us.
Let us begin this tribute by invoking blessings with a prayer song by Roshni, first-year MBA student. May these words bring peace to our hearts as we remember a soul so remarkable.
സകല വിജ്ഞാന നിറവാം ദൈവമേ നിൻ പാതി തേടുന്നു ഞങ്ങളിന്നും നിന്നെ നമിക്കുന്നു നിന്നെ സ്തുതിക്കുന്നു നിൻ പുകഴ് പാടുന്നു നിന്റെ മക്കൾ സകല വിജ്ഞാന നിറവാം ദൈവമേ നിൻ പാതി തേടുന്നു ഞങ്ങളിന്നും ഉൾക്കണ്ണു തുറക്കാൻ ഉൾക്കാഴ്ചയേകാൻ സ്നേഹത്താൽ ഹൃദയം നിറഞ്ഞിടുവാൻ അജ്ഞത മാറ്റിടാൻ അന്ധത നീക്കിടാൻ തൂവിട്ടും തൂകണി കാരുണ്യമേ സകല വിജ്ഞാന നിറവാം ദൈവമേ നിൻ പാതി തേടുന്നു ഞങ്ങളിന്നും.
Thank you, Roshni. To officially commence this ceremony, I am privileged to invite Dr. Elizabeth George, Director of FISAT Business School, to deliver the welcome address. She has 28 years of experience in teaching and she is an authorized PhD guide of MG University. Please join me in welcoming ma'am to the podium. Ma'am, please.
Thank you. Warm good morning to all of you. Honorable Chairman, Sri Shrimit PR, Principal Dr. Jacob Thomas V, distinguished speakers of the day, Mr. Venugopal C. Govind, Chairman, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Mr. Dinesh Thampi, Vice President and Delivery Center Head, TCS, Ms. Sujata Madhav Chandran, Head of Strategic Initiatives, TCS, Mr. Ramesh Nair, Partner, EY, other dignitaries of the dais, Dr. P.R. Mini, Vice Principal, Dr. Unikarta, Dean, Academics, heads of the departments, faculty members, non-teaching staff, and dear students. It is with great honor and pride that I welcome you all to this special tribute organized by FISAT Business School in collaboration with TCS. Today, we are here to celebrate and pay homage to a remarkable leader and visionary, Padma Vibhushan Sri Ratan Tata. Sri Ratan Tata's legacy extends far beyond his role as a former chairman of Tata Group. He embodies the ideas of integrity, innovation, and social commitment and responsibility. His contributions have not only transformed the business landscape, but also has positively impacted the society at large. Moving on to my task, first and foremost, I extend a warm welcome to Sri Shrimit PR, Honorable Chairman, FISAT Governing Body, whose visionary leadership and commitment has been instrumental in shaping the vision and growth of our institution. And we are grateful for your presence today, sir. Welcome you, sir. I would like to welcome Dr. Jacob Thomas V, Principal FISAT, who's always there to guide and inspire us in all our academic pursuits. Welcome you, sir. We are privileged to have several distinguished speakers with us today who will share their insights on Sri Ratan Tata's remarkable journey. We are especially honored to have the senior-most person with us, Mr. Venugopal C. Govind, Chairman, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, Kochi. Mr. Govind is not only a distinguished leader in the field of education, but also a respected chartered accountant. Welcome, sir, and we look forward to hear from you. We are privileged to welcome Mr. Dinesh Thampi, Vice President and Delivery Center Head, TCS Kerala. Mr. Thampi has been instrumental in driving innovation and growth within TCS. We are honored to have him here today to share his insights and thoughts on Sri Ratan Tata. Welcome, sir, to the program. We are delighted to welcome Ms. Sujata Madhav Chandran, Head of Strategic Initiatives, TCS. We are eager to hear her perspective on how Mr. Tata's legacy continues to inspire and shape the corporate world. Welcome you, ma'am. We are pleased to welcome Mr. Rajesh Nair, Partner, EY. As a seasoned leader in one of the world's leading consulting firm, Mr. Nair began his career in TCS. So, sir will be an invaluable voice in today's tribute. Sorry, Tata Motors. Sorry, it is Tata Motors. I would like to extend a warm welcome to Dr. P.R. Mini, Vice Principal, FISAT. Welcome you, ma'am, and thank you for always being our guide and inspiration. I take this opportunity to thank all the governing body members who are present here, all the dignitaries. A special thanks goes to Dr. Unikarta Ji, Dean Academics, who helped us initiate this program in collaboration with TCS. warm welcome to all the department heads, faculty members, non-teaching staff who are present here. I also welcome all the students to this program. Today, as we reflect on Sri Ratan Tata's remarkable journey, let us draw inspiration from his values of integrity, innovation, and his belief in the power of giving back to the society. Thank you.
We'd also like to acknowledge and welcome the presence of the distinguished management committee members, V.O. Papachan sir, George C. Chako sir, Abdul Nasser sir, and Abraham Tharian sir, former MD.
Next, I profusely elated to call upon Sri Shimit PR, Chairman, FISAT Governing Body. Shimit sir has been the guiding light and the epitome of leadership for FISAT, constantly driving us towards higher ground. We are always privileged to have your supervision and backing. Sir, we request you to deliver the presidential address. Sir, please.
Our distinguished speakers, Mr. Venugopal C. Govind, Chairman, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Kochi Kendra, Mr. Dinesh Thambi, Vice President and Delivery Center Head, TCS Kerala, Ms. Sujata Madhav Chandran, Head Strategic Initiatives, Analytics, TCS, Mr. Rajesh Nair, Partner, EUI, Mr. Abraham Tharian, former Executive Director of Federal Bank, Managing Committee members, Principal Dr. Jacob Thomas V, FISAT Business School Director Dr. Elizabeth George, Vice Principal Dr. Mini PR, Dean Academics Unnikartaji, other faculties, and my dear students. Today we are paying tribute to Padma Vibhushan, Mr. Ratan N. Tata. He is familiar to all of us by his name, by his products, by his institutions, and the companies, etc., etc., etc. It's a legendary industrialist, but at the same time, a philanthropist. There are so many quotes about him or by him, and the one quote I always remember is walking together. If we walk together, we can walk far. It's very interesting, right? Normally we walk alone. We like to walk alone so that we can move fast. At certain age, we want to walk alone. Maybe you are in 30s or 25 or 40s. After that, we will think about something about the society, something about the parents, village, etc. And that thought, only because of that walking together, we are remembering him. And it is the same case if we are talking about FISAT. We are walking together. Federal Institute of Science and Technology was established in 2002 by a group of Federal Bank officers. Around 2,000 officers walked together, established it with the 240 students at that time, and it now with the 3,350 students after 23rd year. So that is the beauty of working together. So as a students, you have to remember that is the message you have to absorb. That is, working together will help you to walk far. I'm not taking too much time because it is a 1 hour program. I mentioned by the coordinators. I don't know how they will manage. The 4 speakers are here. Even one day is not enough to speak about this legendary leader, Ratan and Tata. So thank you very much all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your valuable words. It is with great privilege that I now invite Dr. Jacob Thomas V., Principal, FISAT, who has about 36 years of experience as an engineer, professor, and principal in different engineering colleges in Kerala government undertakings and institutions of higher education. I kindly request Dr. Jacob Thomas to deliver the principal's address. Sir, please.
Distinguished guests on the dais, esteemed faculty members, students, and respected members of FISAT community. Today, it is my distinct honor to pay tribute to the world's most revered business icon, a beacon of visionary leadership, Padma Vibhushan, Mr. Ratan N. Tata. Mr. Tata's profound impact on the Indian industry and his global influence are unmatched. Under his stewardship, the Tata Group flourished, expanded, becoming synonymous with excellence and integrity. Mr. Tata's leadership was not just about building business empire, it was about creating a legacy rooted in ethical practices and social responsibilities. His dedication to the uplifting the community through various philanthropic initiatives has transformed the countless lives and set a gold standard for corporate social responsibility. Beyond the boardroom, Mr. Tata's humility and unwavering commitment to the greater good have inspired all of us. I have a story to tell you. One of my roommate, classmate, batchmate is with Tata Group. This was happened some about 20 years back. He was actually working as a project leader in some of the Tata projects. His name is Jidan Das, is a Bengali from Andamans. He is that project leader, that's all. So on his routine visit to these different project sites, he came to his site also, and they arranged a 5-course lunch for him. He refused to accept that 5-course and asked for where is the mess? And he sat along with the laborers and all workers of Tata and had the lunch with him. That shows his humanitarian consider and his greatness. His belief in the potential of every individual and his relentless pursuit of innovation have been guiding lights for aspiring entrepreneurs and business leaders. As we honor Ratan Tata today, let us reflect the values he championed: integrity, perseverance, and deep-seated sense of purpose. Let his journey be a beacon that motivates us to strive for excellence in all our endeavors and to make meaningful contribution to the society. That is the very motto of FBOS. In celebrating his remarkable achievements, we at FISAT are reminded of the power of vision and the importance of giving back to the society. Mr. Tata's legacy will continue to inspire all of us, guide us, as we aim to uphold the high standards he set and work towards the better and an inclusive future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your thoughtful insights and the outlook on Mr. Ratan Tata's benevolent attitude. It is now with great pleasure that I invite Mr. Dinesh P. Thambi, Vice President and Delivery Center Head of Tata Consultancy Services, Kerala, who manages operations in Kochi and Trivandrum. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning to all. Respected Principal Jacob Thomas sir, Vivek C. Govind sir, then my friend, and we used to work in many forums, Rajesh, my colleague Sujata, and all the other dignitaries on and off the dais, faculty members, and my dear students. First of all, it's an honor and privilege to stand before you, and also thanks for organizing this function. So I appreciate the FISAT management for doing that. It's an honor and privilege for standing before you and paying tribute to such a visionary leader. And in fact, there are so many descriptions which we can talk about Mr. Tata. He is the what we call normally as the compassionate capitalist, iconic industrialist, a gentle person, a gentle giant of India Inc. All those adjectives adorn him. But the most and the crucial aspect is like the way in which he led the whole group, not only inside professionally, personally, and even in the societal front. It's like very humble, simple, and he taught the whole world any business can be done, whether it's small, medium, or large, or even as a conglomerate, can be done with ethics and integrity. So that is what Ratan Tata embodies. In fact, before starting, I thought I will just give a quote of what the current chairman, as I think all of you may know, he was our CEO in TCS, Mr. N. Chandra. So his quote is like this, in quotes, Ratan Tata, a titan whose influence profoundly shaped modern India, a rare leader who steered by example, ambitious, even audacious in vision when it came to our business, our communities, our nation, and the next generation. All this with genuine humility in every individual interaction. His leadership and lasting contributions have shaped not only the Tata Group, but also the very fabric of our nation, N. Chandra. So that is the quote Chandra said. In fact, I have not personally worked with him or met him directly, but was fortunate to be in an audience. In fact, TCS does an annual event called Blitz. It's who's who in TCS will be there, roughly. In fact, I was fortunate to conduct once Blitz in Kochi also in 2018 after the floods in December. So he normally comes for those events. In fact, a couple of times when it was done in Hyderabad, Ratan Tata, as we all know, is an avid aviator. So he went to Bangalore for the air show. He flew F-16 and he took the flight and came to Hyderabad and addressed all of us. So he shares all the experiences. But one thing stands out whenever he talks to any one of us or individually I have heard many people talking about their experience. But even in that audience of around roughly 800, 850 of the TCS leaders sitting, it simply displays the humility, the kindness, and the humbleness in which he addresses all of us. So just to quote, in fact, anyway, now I think it was a bit of unfortunate scenario. In fact, when I was handling the Global Delivery Center in Budapest, we won the Best GDC award. GDC is like the centers which we call outside of India in 2013. In fact, if it had been 1 year before, I would have received the award from Ratan Tata. In 2013, it was Cyrus Mistry. Then after that, whatever the situation, again, once Ratan Tata came to that Blitz, at that time, it was a fireside chat. He was getting old. The chairman at that time, N. Chandra, was doing the conversation with him. So one of the leaders in the audience stood up and asked, what is the best thing which you remember, and what is the challenge which you faced at any point of time? He thought for a second and said, the best thing happened to me is sitting next to me, which is N. Chandra. So that is the humility. Anyway, challenges he didn't mention because there's so many things. So that is the humility in which, so he will make you at ease whenever anybody meets him. In fact, Mukundarajan, you would have heard, he became the chief people and ethics officer of the Tata Group. When he went for the interview, it was with Tata. He has to work initially as a EA, executive assistant to Mr. Tata. So during the interview process, he was a bit concerned because he was not having an MBA. He is a degree and post-graduation in social sciences. So he asked Tata, will without an MBA, can this be possible? Will he be able to handle the work or whatever Mr. Tata is envisaging? He just told, in the corporate world, good common sense is enough. It's not taught in the classrooms. So that is the way he used to, very short statements, but I think profound statements which he does. So now I thought, like, with the time given to me, I will just touch upon the values. I think as principal mentioned, in fact, Tata Group has 5 values. And in fact, Ratan Tata embodied, lived that through his personal life and in the leadership in the professional arena. The 5 values are integrity, excellence, unity, responsibility, and pioneering spirit. As far as integrity is concerned, it's the cornerstone of Ratan Tata. Whatever the business he does, at any point of time, any challenges he faced, he took it head on and dealt with it. But he will never, his unwavering ethics and integrity in which the business needs to be done is never altered, or nobody can change that. But one of the examples you may remember is the Tata Capital. When it went through the whole issue of, like, whomever is the officers taking money and putting it in their own business, and it got into all sorts of trouble. But Ratan Tata came up and told, he ensured all the investors their money will not be lost, and to the last penny it was given, and he brought back the whole. Anyway, obviously there are consequences. Some of the officers has been moved out. But later, it also integrated with the Tata Motor Financial. So that is the way in which he upheld the integrity. And the other thing, anyway, we are like, maybe, currently Air India has come into play, but in fact, the whole airlines industry in India would have been taken a different trajectory if that proposal which Tata Group and Singapore Airlines, and that too with the request of by the request of the then Prime Minister submitted. It was a great proposal, but it was shot down due to whatever various reasons, and obviously some of you may know Jet Airways played a major role in that. In one of the interviews, Mr. Tata had mentioned that. And he also shared an experience along with that. He was traveling somewhere, the passenger sitting next to him asked him, anyway, obviously there was money, like, and in fact, like, the then aviation secretaries had written a book, you should read that. In that experience is given. And he himself had told, if that proposal the then minister would have approved, it would have been a different scenario. But obviously, when it comes to money, Ratan Tata will not even look that side. So somebody asked him, you could have given, like, I think whatever money for Tata Group is nothing, you could have given and taken the license and did it. He said, somebody can put a gun on my head. Either he has to move the gun or shoot. I will not move my head. I need a peaceful night's sleep. So that is the way in which this happened. In fact, this happened, in fact, almost 15 to 20 years back. So imagine if that proposal would have gone through, our aviation industry would have been in a completely different plane. The next one is the excellence. Excellence, in fact, Ratan Tata embodies excellence. And he is the key person where, like, Tata Motors became a global automotive industry. In fact, when Jaguar and Land Rover acquisition was made, many people thought, like, okay, what will an Indian company do with that? But from there, like we all know, he acquired it, and then that also there is a story. When Tata Motors was not doing well with Indica, he went to Ford and he was planning to sell Tata Motors. At that time, Bill Ford made a statement, who asked you to start passenger car business? It's like our forte. So he, being Ratan Tata, he just listened and came back. But after 4 years, Ford came to Tata for selling Ford because they were not doing good. So that is the way in which JLR came into existence, and you know, the rest is history. The third value is unity. In fact, he ensured that every organization, otherwise normally when in TCS, we will be in TCS. We will not even know who is in Tata Motors or any Tata Steel. There is no clue. He came out with certain aspects. One is the Tata Business Excellence model, where, like, in fact, if you notice, unless a company gets 600 plus points in the TBM assessment, you cannot use the Tata Motors, the Tata logo. You cannot use that. So that is the level in which the excellence has been maintained. Then he contributed to the Harvard University, set up like certain courses like executive leadership seminar, strategic leadership seminar, where that is where, like, we all came to meet, the TCS, Tata Motors, everybody. So he ensured that he fostered collaboration within the organization, and he brought the whole Tata group as one. So that is like the key aspect of him. And in fact, the unity from a societal standpoint, there is no other example than the 26/11 which happened. In fact, like the day that shooting happened inside Taj Palace, he came to the place and he was trying to get into the hotel. The securities had a tough time to hold him out. Still, he stood in that pavement, or he was there for 2 days handling the situation in whichever way he can do. On top of it, he started a Taj Public Service Welfare Trust. So whomever lost their life or got injured, their families are still getting the salaries every year till the age of retirement. Each of their families are getting salaries. There are even families who are getting salaries now, and their kids were told the education is free till they get a satisfactory job, or till whatever the level they want to study. The fourth is responsibility. That again, it's a commitment to the society. So that is the key aspect he always do. And one of the classic examples is Nano. Once he was passing by in Mumbai, he saw a two-wheeler with a father, mother, and 2 kids, and the lady was holding an umbrella because it was raining. That is where the Tata Nano idea struck him. He thought like slightly higher amount. If a car can be given, it's a safety to the passengers. So that is the key aspect which came in. And in fact, he himself had told in an interview, the only problem which happened is that was given to the marketing guys who was doing marketing in any other commercial vehicle. So they went ahead and positioned it as a cheapest car. That was the issue which happened. If it would have been positioned in the market as a safe and secure mode of transport for two-wheelers, that would have been a major hit. So that is where the issue came. Then obviously the pioneering aspect, you may know, Tata Motors was not in the manufacturing cars. They were like Telco was there, which was only trucks. So that is where like this whole idea came to him. Why can't we have our own car? That is where the Indica came in. Indica got into all sorts of challenges in the beginning. In fact, he himself had told his own friends started distancing from him because of this whole his vision, or he wanted to manufacture a car in India, and finally it became a huge success. Now Tata Motors is in place, and it's a global automotive company. So those are the 5, like integrity, excellence, unity, responsibility, and pioneering spirit. I think that is what Ratan Tata had shown us, and I think we all as students and the future of India, you all should embody that 5 core values, which is the fabric of our nation, and see to it that we live through it. Ensure that, and currently if you look around in the ecosystem, those are the things which is getting deteriorated day to day. So we, as at least we all of us sitting in the room, should stand up to that, live those through values, and see to it we as a country moves forward, and it like becomes one of the, the countries where the business can be done ethically and with integrity. So thank you, Ratan Tata, for showing us the way, and thanks for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. We are very proud and fortunate to hear your valuable words, and extremely fortunate to hear in much detail about the values embodied by Sri Ratan Tata. With 20 plus years of experience, business advisory, Mr. Rajesh P. Nair established EY's Kochi consulting operations and lead sustainability solutions nationally. It's my privilege to invite Mr. Rajesh P. Nair to grace this occasion and share his thoughts. Sir, please.
Yeah, on the lighter side, my name is Rajesh Nair. There is no P in between. There is an R, which is my dad's name, Raghu. And the reason why that R is important is when I joined Tata Motors after engineering in '93, I joined as a graduate engineer trainee. And Tata Motors, like TCS and a lot of other Tata companies, you have lots of engineers joining. So our batch was around 156 students who finished engineering and who came in. And we were a lot of Rajeshes. And everybody used to call me by my middle name, Raghu. So Raghu was my common name during those 4 years with Tata Motors. What I have is A few anecdotes. I haven't spent enough time to sort of even write an obituary. And in fact, I keep writing quite a lot, but I refrain from writing anything about Ratan Tata because I didn't know him personally, and whatever I know is hearsay. But I have met him as part of groups several times during those 4 years, and several times during my last 25 years in consulting. So I'll tell you some of those anecdotes, and that'll give you a perspective of who he was as an exemplary human being. In a nutshell, I would tell you that he gave us the template to be a good human being and what it is to be a good human being. He actually made it cool to be a good human being, and that's what I would begin with. In our stint in Tata Motors had a 2-year graduate engineering trainee stint, so which means it's extended college time. You actually join, you live in a hostel. So of course it's a much more plusher plusher hostel where you have a lot more facilities. And 2 years you rotate across departments, across various functions. You have projects to do. There is an exam at every point of time. So it's like it's like slightly more meticulous. So I joined in Jamshedpur where you could play golf at 10 rupees, and you don't need to pay the lakhs and the crores for a golf club there. So you can join. You can join the Tata. The Tatas had 4 golf courses out there. All of us could play, and the kind of facilities they gave us as graduate engineer trainees was phenomenal. I won the Graduate Engineer Trainee Award after 2 years of training in my batch. And that was the first time I got to meet him when he came to address the entire Tata Motor folks. It was in that legendary meeting in '96 that he announced across the board pay hike for the entire Tata Motors employees. And of course, you can imagine the head of the company coming and announcing a pay hike across the board. And so it was one of those meetings. So I got to meet him there, and my wife, who joined as a graduate engineer trainee then, her batch was the fresh batch at that time, and there were a group of 100-odd students 100-odd graduate engineer trainees who were there, and we met him together. And a few things I remember during those days. I was always a compulsive note taker. I still take notes, and I still have the physical handwritten notes of that particular lecture, where he said that look for challenges. Challenges will give you opportunities. And this is something which has remained with me. If you come to our office here in Kochi, for many years I had it on the whiteboard behind me, telling every new kid who comes and joins us in consulting that don't run away from challenges, look for challenges, indulge in challenges. That's when you find opportunities. I also got selected into what was called the Tata Mint project. This was the first. The Indica project was initially started off as Tata Mint, and 3 of us got selected from the graduate engineer trainee bunch. I was one of them. Incidentally, all 3 of us decided to pursue MBAs, decided to go to B schools, and of course he might have heard this from different forums. And he came and addressed again the graduate engineer trainees, and he said that it is okay if you pursue higher studies, because I'm sure that each of you will be an ambassador for Tatas for all your life, and that's what we have been. I spent 4 years in Tata Motors. My wife spent another 4. I got married when I was in Tata Motors just before going to B school, and my wife continued with Tata Motors when I moved to. And for 2 years, we lived in the Tata apartments in Bombay, where I went to when I did my MBA from SP Jain, and she continued with the Tatas for another couple of years. So the passion that we have for the company is a lot related to the values that he would transmit in each of those encounters we had. Subsequently, during my last 25 years of consulting, I was part of the restructuring project that Tata Steel went through. I did a lot of mergers and acquisitions as projects. So the Tata Chorus Steel acquisition was again another Another project that I did as part of the consult, I used to work with Accenture then. As part of that, I did that. We did the entire leadership development piece at the Indian Hotels, which is the Taj Hotels group. So all of these times, I've seen him in passing, but not really any deep conversations. In 2015-16 in Kerala, when we did the Thai conference, a batchmate of mine from those days who was working with Mr. Tata's office and looking at his investments set up a meeting, and that was when I got like my 10 minutes of glory, and I actually met him in 2015-16, and he was already weak by then. So he had weak knees, so he wasn't traveling much. So he was very courteous as usual, and so if you've done those one-to-one meetings with Mr. Tata, he has a very large room in the Tata house, and there are different sofas at different places, and normally his office folks come and sit you in one of the sofas, and then he comes and sits on his table, and then they lead you to the table, etc. So he has this habit that he'll come and sit with you along in the sofa. Whether it is tea or coffee which is served, he'll make it a point to pour it out for you. And then, so you're already overwhelmed with, a lot of that. And first of all, you're meeting Ratan Tata. So then he'll tell you a few things like, I'm honored that you gave me 10 minutes of your life to discuss something. And then, I explain the conference, etc. And then he very politely declines, saying that he's sort of aging and he's not able to travel. But then, you come back and you have memories for a lifetime. And that's what... I also have very fond memories of those 4 years in Tata Motors, is also because, a lot of youngsters sitting out here. I fell in love at that time. So my wife came in she is from North India. She came in, and then for those of you who will fall in love now or later, you go through that phase where your entire mind is about, okay, what do I tell her when I get those 10 minutes, etc. So most of the conversations used to be about Ratan Tata and Tata Motors during those days. And eventually when I proposed to her also was, she said something like, why did you take so long, you monkey, or something. So a lot of fond memories of those days still remain. She left Tata's 2 years, once I finished my B school and, I got into consulting. She also moved to financial services, and she continues, she works with Fidelity. But believe me, our best days, most of our daily habits are also the Tata habits. We have tea or coffee together in the morning, which we used to have in the canteen then, and which continues. Whenever we are there together, we still have that cup of coffee, and we remember those fond days in Tata Motors. And I'm sure anybody who's joined the Tatas will always carry that Tata emblem on his shoulder and in his heart. And that's what the great man left for us. And it is phenomenal, the amount of... I don't want to give you quotes. All of you heard the best. Dinesh shared some very interesting quotes about him as well. But something which I want to leave with you is, he used to say that the way you live every moment in your life is the way you will live your life. So if you do something right now, that's the way your life is. So it's not, and so I think he was talking about procrastination in some place where, he says, you can't decide to be somebody else on one day and then do and plan that, okay, all the hard work I'll do on Sunday night or Monday morning, etc. So he says even that little moment that you spend each day with your life is how you will spend your life. So take cognizance of each and every moment, each and everything that you do. That'll really make you the person he is. The last point was on his fondness for pets. You might have read the news about 5,000 crores he left for just pet care and stray dogs in Bombay and stuff like that. So we are pet parents. We have a Cocker Spaniel. And the joke at home is we haven't told our puppy that he's adopted. So the puppy actually feels that, he's our child. And my wife says that he keeps looking at the mirror as if, does he resemble his father or does he resemble his mother more? So we are really fond of pets, and we really understand when he comes. And when he says that you would have all heard this popular story where he declined being in London for one of those very prestigious philanthropy awards from the Prince at that point of time because his dog Tito was not doing well. So those are some of those things. When he passed away, it felt really personal. And I must say that, it was one of those, as if you lost a parent or something. Thanks a lot.
We apologize with the oversight with the initials. Let me humbly reintroduce Mr. Rajesh Nair, partner at EY. Thank you, sir, for those powerful reflections. Your words serve as a reminder of the profound impact Sri Ratan Tata has had on the principle of leadership and compassion. Next, it is my privilege to invite Ms. Sujata Madhav Chandran, a distinguished figure in the IT industry who has an impressive 31-year journey at Tata Consultancy Services. She is the head of strategic initiative analytics at Enterprise Cognitive Business Operations TCS. Please join me in welcoming her to the stage. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Anne. Very good afternoon. We are just at the afternoon, and I must say I am in a trance or in a different mood after listening to Dinesh and Rajesh, and of course, before that, Chairman Shimit and Principal Dr. Jacob. So with respects to all the dignitaries seated on the dais and in front, I can see former ED Ebrahim Tariel and many other members and members of the Federal Bank Committee, and dear students, professors, members of FISAT family. As always, I have been here so many times. I have to start by saying this. Coming to FISAT is a lot like coming to my own institution. It must be because of the deep friendship and the long relationships that I have here. Your Dean Academics, Dr. Unni Karta for you, my very dear friend. It was just one discussion with him last week, and this whole event got organized. Thank you very much. As a tribute to Padma Vibhushan, Mr. Ratan N. Tata, what is it that I want to share? I am a member of the Tata Group and TCS. It's been 3 decades. So many incidents, so many occasions. Of course, as you already heard from Mr. Dinesh Sampi, for the past a decade or more, it has been Mr. Tata speaking and us gaining valuable lessons. But I do want to tell you about something which happened at the start of my own career. Even now, I think many of you would have, if I heard that the compares are from TCS, some of you may be with TCS or will be joining TCS. So on that point, I have a chance to introduce the organization, talk about TCS and Tata Group to many of the new joiners. Some of them are fresh from engineering college, some of them come from management schools, and many of them come with experience, the experienced professionals as we call them. And what I tell them, you've heard this before, to reflect on the culture of our group and our organization, I tell them that when you look at the list of richest Indians, Mr. Ratan Tata's name will never figure on it. Unlike so many other well-known names that you know, industrial houses. The reason is that, unfortunately, it's very commonplace for us to count wealth in monetary terms. Mr. Ratan Tata's real wealth is all that you've heard before me, all that you have read, and all that each of us has to carry on and live. His wealth, his legacy are his values, beliefs, everything that he has built up. And his own behavior, the personal interaction. So that is where I want to share just maybe a couple of instances, because I know before me, Venugopal Singh Govind sir, when he speaks, it's going to be the expanse of the world. So first one is that when I was, I started my career with TCS in Bombay, as it was called then. Now it's called Mumbai. And this is in somewhere in the late 90s, which means I was in my late 20s. Okay, so closer to the age to everybody in the uniform. You understand how junior. And Mr. Tata, chairman of the group. My then boss, like all good bosses, empowered his team and sent me to Bombay House to have a meeting with a person who was then ED to Mr. Tata. I'm sure Rajesh would know him very well. His name is Rajiv Dubey, who went on to become president of the passenger cars division of Tata Motors. I went to make a presentation to him. It was what would later be called a decision support system. This was a product which had been built. I was the product manager, and my boss said, this is a product. If you can't sell it, if you can't convince, we were making a pitch for it to be used there in Mr. Tata's office. If you can't sell it, means you've got it all wrong. You need to go back to the drawing board and redesign. So go and meet Mr. Rajiv Dubey. That was the occasion. I was not, I did not have a time and appointment to meet Mr. Tata. So there I was, remember the age, experience and the situation, in a discussion with Mr. Rajiv Dubey. Engrossed. And in walks Mr. Tata. I was fixed to the spot. I didn't know what to do. Should I not be there? Where do I go? I'm just there. How do I react? The magnetic presence, the charisma, and the overpowering, he is overpowering. I should know that particularly in that sense, just the presence. And Mr. Tata walked into the room. He made eye contact with me and acknowledged my presence. Turned around, Rajiv, meet me when you're free, and left. So to my young friends, it was such a valuable lesson that no one is a persona non grata. He just acknowledged my presence. That fleeting moment of that eye contact, it transformed my entire thinking, my life, I would say, and till today, it is something which I strive to practice, and I urge all of you to do that. It could be a simple thing, like to all my young friends, when you start working in corporate, in your work life, it could be as simple as the security at the gate. You know, we give our cards to swipe. I make it a point to make eye contact and say a good morning or a good afternoon. When I meet the cleaning staff, it's very easy to pretend they don't exist. They're just cleaning the washroom. I just meet them. I just say hello and okay. It doesn't matter. I don't speak to them in Malayalam. I speak to them in English. It doesn't matter. A hello is universal. A language of smile is universal. So the fact that, as I repeat, no one is a persona non grata. The position, formal position in an organization was not important for Mr. Tata, and you have read so many instances. The tribute to Mr. Tata is from not just colleagues and corporate honchos and the who's who of business. It is from the people whom, who have worked in Tata Motors, who have worked in all these organizations. So strive to live by his values always. Again, to the Tata Group and to TCS, I also owe my personal life and my family. I met my husband in TCS. At that time, we were working in TCS in Bombay. It was also a period of learning. Everything else that you heard from Rajesh, aside of that, yes, and even today, I would say the conversations are so much about Tata Group, TCS, because we have grown up professionally knowing the same set of leaders, senior leaders, work environment, and of course, working in the same industry of technology. But the second thing that I want to tell you is, okay, how many of you are engineering graduates here? Maybe a few of you. Why I'm telling you is, when I meet a lot of freshers and the feedback I get is, I'm talking of a technology organization, like a software services organization. One common comment is, I don't want to work in production support. Have you heard that from your friends and seniors and juniors? I want to work in a development project. Look, production support, again, it's like the proof of the pudding is in eating. If whatever has been delivered to the customer, if you can support it and if you can fix any problems reported, means your project is a success. So this was a brief period when I was working. The department was called customer service. We had a product, it was an accounting software. It was a market leader at that time. The price, I'm telling this to you to set the context of the customers of those accounting software. So this was accounting software for small to medium businesses. It was, in the 90s, it was being sold at 5990 and 8990. Those customers many of them were first-time users of an accounting software. Many of them were first-time users of computers, PCs. The laptops were not there in the market, at least at an affordable cost then. And if there was a problem with the software, they just knew that I'm buying a product from the house of Tatas. They would write letters to Mr. Tata. You didn't need to know the correct email ID and send an email. You just say, Mr. Ratan Tata, Bombay House, Fort, Bombay. You just write, Mr. Ratan Tata, Bombay House, it will reach. And the letters would reach him. And it would get marked down. What do you do when you get a memo? There's a memo from Mr. Ratan Tata's office with a complaint from a customer. All that we were expected to do was give a truthful, again I refer to the values that you heard from Mr. Dinesh Thampi when he spoke. Truthful representation of what the problem was, A. B. Send out a note on the action taken before end of day. That's all. It's doable, right? So it is such a valuable lesson that work needs to be done of course, on time, and you need to explain what it is. There is no mollycoddling expected, no, sir, I will take care of it, or no, I don't think the product has any defect, it's all working fine, I don't know why the letter is done, nothing. And that was a period again of immense learning. Mr. Tata's commitment to society, commitment to philanthropy is so well known. But I want to leave with one more instance. Actually, it was Dinesh who had updated me on this when he was talking in another forum at office about the kind of commitment Mr. Ratan Tata had about the future of society. And you know that the Tata Group focus areas are education, of course, medical care, sustainability, women empowerment, and so on. But it is so very touching to know, especially at an event where we are paying tributes to the memory of the legend, that just 2 months ago, in August 2024, Mr. Tata set up a unit to do research into Parkinson's, from which he was suffering. He wanted, having experienced it firsthand, he wanted to have a separate research initiated so that the future would be better for anybody suffering from this disease. I'm sure some of you, the youngsters, would have done your own research, and I would love to hear from some of you on what is it that you have read and heard about Mr. Tata that you can use in your life, like just some of the examples which I gave. But I'm sure we'll come back to that, because the person that all of us, myself included, most eagerly awaiting to listen to is Venugopal Govind sir. In the end, to Mr. Tata, may you rest in peace, may you guide us, lead us to follow the values that you have lived. And I quote from your book called The Wit and Wisdom, in which you have said, "In all that I have done, I have tried to do the right thing." Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We extend our heartfelt gratitude for sharing Mr. Tata's worthwhile stories with such grace and depth. Next, let me invite Mr. Venugopal C. Govind, who is a chartered accountant by profession. He was holding the position of Senior Managing Partner of the renowned firm of Verma & Verma, a leading firm of chartered accountants in South India. Currently, he is the chairman of Bharati Vidya Bhavan Kochi and trustee of Chinmaya Educational and Cultural Trust, Greater Cochin. His vast experience and dedication to ethical leadership give him a unique perspective on Mr. Tata's influence. We request you, sir, to enlighten us on your views about the visionary leadership. Sir.
Good morning to all of you. Esteemed Chairman Schmidt, Principal Dr. Jacob Thomas, Madam Elizabeth George, Madam Minnie, my esteemed colleagues in the panel, distinguished members, Dinesh, Rajesh, Sujata, all the distinguished members of the governing body, faculty members, dear students. It's a matter of great happiness for me to be with you all on a fine morning like this. FISAT is not new to me. I've been here at least twice before. And I've been engaged in several discussions in the development of FISAT at different stages. I'm so very happy and proud to know that this institution has grown to such a great extent, from 240 students to 3,000 plus students. Fantastic, no doubt great achievement. Hearty congratulations and best wishes to all of you. I thought I will come at the end to share a few thoughts of mine, largely because all the three who are to speak with me are all products of Tata's. They knew what Tata is, Tata's philosophy is, Tata's governance norms are, the Tata's value systems, traditions, ecosystem, environment, everything. So they will be able to present a good picture of you of what Tata's represent. And they have done it exceedingly well. I thought I will take little time to close up, following up on what they said. Of course, no one like Ratan Tata in India today, in industry business. Perhaps for decades, none will come through. And also, there is no organization like Tata's in the whole of this country, who are so well founded on the values, on the traditions, rich traditions, on the high corporate philosophies on this work, and on the governance norms, transparency, social responsibility, corporate social responsibility, and all. They have set their own mark, indelible mark in the corporate world, undoubtedly. Well, they all knew Tata's as someone whom they adore, as their boss, ultimate boss, head of the whole organizations. It has to be like that. They have their views. They respect him. They keep them in their heart. As I could listen to them, it is what has come out. My association with Tata's was in a different level. We were auditors for the entire Tata group of companies in the South India in the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s. When their principal auditors, Billy Murray and Company, Ferguson's and Raiji and Company, had no branch offices anywhere in South India. And we were representing those three large firms for many corporates. So they wanted us to look after the Tata branch audits also, or South Indian audits in South India. So I was personally from 1965 onwards till close to 92 when we left there, when they opened the branch in South, doing the audits of these companies like Tata Chemicals, Tata Oil Mills Limited, Lakme Limited, it was an associate company, Tata Tea Limited and all, so many companies. In that connection, I used to visit Bombay House at least twice a year. From the late 60s when I took over the audit till about close to early 90s, twice a year for audit finalization, half year review and annual review and all that. At that time, we have a board meeting where we present along with the statutory auditors and we meet all of them. Of course, the high and mighty bosses in Tata's were JRD undoubtedly. I've had occasion to interact with him on many times. When he sits, he's something different, you know. He's incredibly such a magnanimous figure, undoubtedly. And there are people like Darbari Seth, at that time, you know, holding the chairmanship of both Tata Chemicals and Tata Tea, Kedkar holding chairmanship of Tata Hotels, and M.H. Modi in charge of Tata Steel and all that. Many big stalwarts. Ratan Tata's in the 70s and all that when I met, was relatively a small person. Not many often he used to be in the head office. He used to be in charge of some company or the other directorship here and there. He started his own, as I know, in a very small way. Start from the shop floor onwards in one of the companies. He grew steadily. And no one pushed him up. Even in the 80s and all that, he used to have a relatively smaller room. And he was nowhere in the boardroom and all of these big companies which I mentioned. So after meeting all these, finishing my official work, I used to get into Ratan's room. And we'll talk for 10, 15 minutes, how are you, and all that, say hello and go away. Very impressive personality, young and very dynamic, hugely resourceful. And you'll be instantly impressed by the magnetic effect of his personality. One could never have thought that he would ever take over from Ratan Tata. Even till perhaps the end of late 80s and all that, some of us could never think. We were all thinking probably Darbari Seth could be, or Kedkar should be, or even Krishna Kumar could be. He was coming up slowly. He was only a branch manager. When we started the audit of Tata Tea in Wellington Island, he grew. And he went to Calcutta and he finally became CEO of Tata Tea and the right-hand man of Ratan Tata. But how did he become? Largely because, Ratan Tata, JRD felt that anyone who succeeds him should have qualities like courage, enterprise, compassion. That's all. And he was looking at people. And he had no doubt. He had made up his mind. And no one thought in the Tata hierarchy that Ratan will ever be picked up. He was so very young, in the early 50s, hardly 4 years. Maybe 5 years older than me. I'm 82 now, he must have been 86, 4 years same. But something JRD must have found in him to succeed in him, because Tata Empire was so very, large and all that. So his choice was his, and they were all uncomfortable. As I could see, all of them, Darbari Seth and Kedkar and Modi are all uncomfortable. This young man who worked under him is became suddenly the chairman of the Tata group, you see. But JRD allowed him time to settle down. 3 months, 6 months, 1 year to know, finally to confirm. And only after having been fully satisfied that he could carry the mantle, he handed it over to him. The rest is history. What Ratan Tata built up is absolutely phenomenal as far as the nation's contribution is concerned. How do we, some of us, look at Ratan Tata? What are his major contributions? What do all of us have to learn from him? First and foremost, he was hugely patriotic. He believed in the idea of India. He for sure wanted India to be one among the largest economies in the world. And he was willing to go to any extent. Some of us knew from the closed doors that he had a very high influence in the Manmohan Singh, P.V. Narasimha Rao, government, completely changing the India's economic rules and philosophies and the regulations and all that. He supported them through and through. Without probably his motivation, even Manmohan Singh would not have had the courage to go into that kind of a liberalization and globalization. And Ratan Tata was feeding the industry mind to them very constantly and emboldened them to go ahead. Again, rest is history. It was around 91 when they went into the economic liberalization of India. Around that time that Ratan Tata also took over, and he had a green field. He had an economy which had no regulations. which were no more under strangles, no more under any strains or chains, and he could experiment. And he had set some very high norms for India. He wanted India, who will emerge, to be one among the largest superpowers in the world at that point of time. You see the kind of risk that he has taken in business. No Indian businessman could ever have thought of. First took over the Tetley, Tata Tetley, now what you see, Tetley was one of the largest tea companies in the world, and he took it over for 432 millions. Not a small company in the 2000. Then he looked at the Daewoo's Korean company, truck manufacturers, Daewoo. He took over that. The Indian companies were not used to take over such big corporates that days. Nobody would have ventured to. Who we had? We had only Birlas. They were very conservative. They would not have think of taking over such undertakings globally. Of course, Ambani was slowly coming up, but nowhere near the scene. Singhanias, Kapadias, they were all there. They were not that very significant. So he must have thought, he must give the leadership for that. So Daewoo was taken over at a cost of about 120 million. 431 million was the first for Tata Tetley, and 120 was Daewoo. From that he got the inspiration, and the next what he did was the unimaginable. 2007, the year when he took over the Chorus Steel Company, the UK company, one of the giant steel companies. And we were struggling very hard. No Indian would have touched it. You see, I have gone anywhere near that. That was the size of the company. And he took it over for $11.2 billion, imagine. Company was in complete doldrum. If he had not taken over, perhaps Chorus would have gone into liquidation. And he took over, and he had the audacity, the sagacity, and tenacity. As an Indian industrialist, mind you, take over, and he wanted to turn it around. In the first 2 years, he turned it around. Rest again is history. Of course, steel had gone into a lot of problems. Today, steel industry is not doing well. He saw the very bad days. Everyone criticized him for that, but he didn't bother about that. He showed to the world that Indian company could take over a giant's company of that nature. The next was in 2008, when he embarked upon the JLR takeover, Jaguar Land Rover, from Ford. Ford, international giant in motors, could not run that company. And here is an Indian businessman who has only manufactured companies like Indica, cars like Indica, small-time vehicles. He is going and wanting to take over. You see, JLR. And the person who negotiated for him, he didn't go there. He kept himself. I knew that. He authorized a person by name Arun Gandhi. He was his financial advisor. This boy is my age. He's in Bombay now. He had worked in Ferguson's, and he was a senior partner of NM Raiji and Company. JRD asked him to resign because he was his auditor, and asked him to join. I said, I have some plans. I have some plan for India. I have some plans for Indian industry. And person like you, I want you to be with me. So he deputed Arun Gandhi to negotiate this on his behalf. And he bought it at a very high price, unimaginably high price, $2.3 billion. Nobody would have expected. It was like Chorus. He had taken over Chorus at 11.3. That was 34% more than what anyone would have thought of. Industry standard. He had that courage. Let me take it over. He took over JLR also. Again, he turned around JLR. As was said, Ford had humiliated him when he went up to him and requested him to take over his Tata Motors. Ford had laughed at him. Why did you start this industry at all? You should never have thought, now you are coming to me. No reason to come to me. Ratan being Ratan, he came out. Perhaps you would not have forgotten about that. But that could not be the reason. He must have thought India must embark on it. It is not Tatas who are taking over JLR. It was an Indian company who was taking over JLR. And the world will know that Indian company is running Chorus, Indian company is running JLR. What would be the image of Indian companies? He wanted to pitch India at that level. And did that. And many, many things. Like that, he transformed, he certainly brought India to the forefront. I remember, he's mentioning somewhere, I remember, that Narasimha Rao finished this, can I have the water? Narasimha Rao finished his globalization policy in 1996. And when he retired, you see, everyone was a hammer and tongue against him. How can, you see, industry, you liberalize the industry without doing the proper homework for that? Even his own party threw him out. Narasimha was very down, absolutely down. No one to support him. Ratan Tata wrote a personal letter by his own handwriting to Narasimha Rao. What you did was absolutely right for the country. We stand behind you. India's industry stand behind you. Whatever you are now, don't bother about it. What you have done to the country will never be forgotten. You see, the man, what was his, and he stood by him. And he also gave leadership to Indian industry, ASSOCHAM, FICCI, CII. Before CII, it was All India Manufacturers Organization. CII came later. CII was Confederation of Engineering Industry. Subsequently, CII came. All India Manufacturers Organization was very powerful. Once he was head of that, and I was chairman of the Kerala branch of All India Manufacturers Organization several years, and I've interacted with them. When that organization went into a twist, went into a lot of problems, JRD interfered and said, you close it down now. You close it down now. He wanted AM, All India Manufacturers Organization, to close down and merge with Confederation of Engineering Industry and convert itself into CII. So CII, what it is today, is again, one way or the other, of which Rajesh and Dinesh are all an integral part. It is all again, that leads an industry. So he gave the industry leadership to CII. So you look at that, all those things that he has done to the Indian image, India's industry as a whole, India's industrial growth, development, organizational chambers, management associations and all, he gave the right kind of leadership impetus. The most important aspect of which was that, as you know, JRD wanted him to have the courage. He went far ahead of that. He had not just the courage, but he has the ability and he has the power to take risk, highest risk possible. He felt that unless you take risk, you will not succeed. So he took the highest risk possible wherever, not bothered about the immediate consequences, but had faith in the future, faith in himself, faith in Indian industry. He thought we could work it up. And he had the resilience also, not merely having a faith, not simply taking over and leaving to others. He always led it from the front. He recruited the right kind of people. The seniors who were breathing on his neck, like Darbari Seth and Ketkar and all that, he simply released them away. He brought in a rule that all seniors will retire at 75, including himself. He will retire at 75 and all of them were suddenly asked to retire. Those who had completed 76, 77, 78 and all that were very high-end executives. They were all asked to retire and he brought in very young people. Today you see Tata House is so very strong. He brought Tata under one symbol. One symbol in the sense that Tata's sons had no voting rights. When he joined Tata Sons as the chairman, Tata Sons had no voting rights. They were the major shareholders. Shapurji Ballanji had voting right of 18%. They could have taken over any time, or any foreign company could have taken over the whole of Tata's. In fact, many foreign companies are looking at such cheap takeover in India. If Tata Sons do not have voting power, how do you have control? So he changed, he amended the Articles of Association of companies, Tata Sons and all that, and brought in voting rights for Tata Sons. Tata Trust in Tata Sons. So Tata Trust, which are all the shareholding without voting rights, became Tata Trust with voting rights, with control. Thereby he got control. When he decided and announced that he will retire at 75, I used to know him personally before he took over. I wrote a personal letter, sir, this is not the time for you to retire. Please don't think about it, at least another 5 years. India is going through difficult times. He wrote only 2-3 lines. I have full confidence in my successors. I built an organization which will stand by itself. I have no problem at all. But then he faced problem. He was not perhaps as competent enough as JRD to decide on his successor. So he handed over everything to Cyrus Mistry in good faith. Why did he hand over to Cyrus Mistry? He did not want to hand over. Cyrus Mistry was in the selection panel to recruit his successor. He was supposed to recruit his successor. And the selection panel could not find anyone anywhere near Ratan Tata. What will they do? Ratan Tata said, you get somebody from outside also. Any foreigner can come and take over. But then Parsi community is very powerful. They interfered and they said, Tata has a philosophy, Tata has a culture. It is blended with Parsi culture. So please try to hand over only to your Parsi. He's only then he started looking at Cyrus Mistry. But then he really felt that Cyrus in 2012 was much more experienced and competent than Ratan Tata was in 1991 when he took over. He was not even a chairman of any big company at that point of time, only small companies like National Electronics and all that. He was never chairman of Tata Steel or anything. In 1991, whereas Cyrus Mistry has been running the empire of Shapur Milanji. He was so very competent, and he had British education. He believed in that, because Ratan Tata himself was educated for architecture in Cornell University, and he did his business management in Harvard. He felt that put him in good stead. Those education made him what he was, how he could get through all that. So he thought Cyrus, with his educational background and the background of the industries he has managed in Shapurji Milanji, will be able to outwit Ratan Tata, but he did not. According to Ratan Tata's assessment, Cyrus Mistry was a failure. But nobody would have touched Cyrus Mistry. That is where he was decisiveness. The leader at that time has to be very decisive. Decision making at the right time is very important. If someone you have put is doing something wrong, you must have the courage, conviction to remove him, which J.R.D. Tata did. Many in the industry did not agree with him, but he removed him. He had to fight the long legal battle, rest his history. Cyrus Mistry was removed, but thereafter opened his eyes. He brought in right kind of people. Chandrasekhar, as he said, what a fantastic, none of us thought. We all knew him also. He was only a young manager. He was nowhere near that kind of leadership, but you see what he has done. Narendran, who now runs the Tata steel industry and all that. So he has trained and put right kind of people, and he is prepared to go. He never felt that Noel Tata is the right man to succeed him. If he was alive, he would not have probably selected him. But anyway, there again, the Parsi community had their influence, and he has brought near. But he has good experience. Let us hope they will do very well. So finally, students, what do you learn? They've all explained to you the life, history, work, mission, culture, philosophy, tradition, background, everything of Ratan Tata. You've known about him, but what do you learn out of that? Most important thing is be patriotic at all the time, wherever you are. Number two, be prepared to take the risk in your life. Without risk, there is no point. You see, whole of Tata empire would have gone down if you are not able to manage Chorus, or if you are not able to manage JLR or any such Daewoo or any such company. But he saw to it that those companies did not. Even when Tata Telecom failed, many things which Tata did failed. He started on his Tata Automobiles, Nano failed. Singur, you know what is it? Mamata Banerjee drove him out of that. But then he came back much later. He lost 2-3 years by then and set up the plant in Gujarat. He started on Telecom. Telecom was a miserable failure. Tata Group has to shell out 50,000 crores to get out of Telecom. These are all failures of, even Tata Chorus, many said is a failure. JLR, they said is a failure. You look at from one angle, but his vision is beyond balance sheets. He doesn't look at the bottom line, he doesn't look at the numbers, he doesn't look at turnover. He has a vision above all that. And certainly there is nothing wrong with that. Air India also, I'm sure he would have wanted, Chandrasekhar to take over. None of us who know anything about aviation industry and all that would never accept. You see, Tata is taking over Air India at the most difficult time. Even now they are not out of the woods. But he gave the courage, he had the resilience, the sagacity, I says, to take over anything. Take over Tata's. Tata's want Air India back. So Chandrasekhar has gone ahead with that. So with people like that, I'm sure Tatas will certainly flourish, I have no doubt about that. But the lesson you have to learn is this. We must have the vision for the country. You must be patriotic. You must be prepared to take risk. You must foresee the risk, but you must also know how to manage risk. To manage risk, you must have that managerial competence and capability, and more importantly, ability to train people. Put the right kind of people in the right spot. Ensure that management goes on smooth in all respects, and make sure that what you did does not harm the industry as a whole. And above all, you've got to be a human being. That's what was mentioned about you. Fantastic. All the human qualities you can think of. Since I have known him from his 40s, I can tell you humility, simplicity, sincerity, service-mindedness, compassion, empathy, kindness, teamwork. You think of many things. concern for others, thoughtful for others, affection, warmth, friendliness, everything you will see in that embodiment of, the whole humanity. So coupled with their human qualities, which is the most important, which all of you must have. Otherwise, you will not be successful. Integrity, the next follows the integrity aspect, the transparency process, the forthrightness, the fortitude that you need. These are all software qualities that you need to have that. Without that, you have got all the qualities to be a big manager, but you are not a good human, you are an absolute failure. So this is the second important lesson that you have got to learn from him. The third important aspect is that don't take credit for whatever you do. He never says that I have achieved all that. He lived a good life, no doubt about that, but he was very, very careful. Whatever he does, he was very careful. In all aspects, he was very careful. He lived a modest life, no doubt about that. And he set an example for everyone to emulate. So may the clan of Ratan Tata grow bigger and bigger. May his the personality, his vision, and the qualities that he is led behind guide all of you, young managers. Wish you all the very best. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your powerful reflections. Your words painted such a vivid picture that it felt like we were meeting him in person. We now open the stage for a few short queries that the audience may have. Being students of management, there is much to learn from the life philosophies of this great person. I invite students to put forward their queries to the distinguished speakers. Please.
Good afternoon, sirs and ma'am. My name is Binil Nandan of S3 MBA at FBS. So it's been an honor and grateful to have an opportunity to listen to what you all have to say, those inspiring words and words of inspiration and wisdom. So I have always been curious about how the rare combination of philanthropy and business acumen can be furthered among the new age managers. So can you share your views on this?
Anyway, thanks for that question. I think basically being in TCS for like more than, I think 33 years I have completed. And overall, whatever, 35, 36 years of industry experience. From the question you asked, like there are two parts. One is like how business can be done and how the social responsibility has to be taken together. So I think many times I have heard even in the office outside this whole aspect of work-life balance. So I always say that will never be a balance because work and life and you put it in a balance, balance will never stop moving. So I always used to say put a third thing and put a tripod. It's like work, community, life, balance. So if you can always find time to do something for the society, because I personally feel we are all fortunate. All of you being sitting here in this prestigious institution, we are all fortunate. But you look outside, there are a lot of people who are less fortunate. It's not that they don't have capability. Or like it's like basically the opportunity or like to come into an institution like this, they are not getting. So that is where this tripod comes into play. So if you have like work, community, life, which basically I got into that habit from working in TCS and we have like from the Tata group when we say give back to the nation and give back to the society. So those are the two key aspects which always plays, and in fact I encourage. So it's like your will. You have to have that will to go out and support the society along with whatever work you do, the business you do, and it's like you have to find that time. And also, okay, once in a while floods happen, whatever, like you write a check for that, that is okay. But when you go there, stand with that community or the society and do that work along with them, then it makes a very great difference and a satisfaction. So I think it's again a mindset. You have to like think through that, because somebody like Ratan Tata with such a huge empire, if he can find time, and with all the like education, health and environment, those are the three key areas Tata Group supports, then definitely we can at least, as Sir mentioned, look upon to him, understand the aspects of it, at least start with something small, and then at your age, at all of your age, start small, and then it can be brought up to whatever level you can.
Just a quick point to add. So in consulting, we say that we are only as good as the ecosystem around us. So while what you do at the company is paramount, unless we improve the ecosystem around us, we really don't reach where we should. So that's the reason why organizations like industry organizations like, let's say, a FICCI, CII, TI, or even social organizations like Rotary, etc., become very important, because that's when you contribute to the ecosystem around you. So it's not just your life, your company, your immediate teams, etc. You have that responsibility to develop the people around you, and that's a mindset that you should carry, which Mr. Tata used to carry through his philanthropy.
Thank you, sir.
A very good afternoon to all. Myself Hiba Nazir, and I'm from MPA S3. I recall in an Hello? Okay. I recall in an article of Sri Ratan Tata sir of the wanting to be responsible for making a change and to change the perspectives of looking at things. Can you please share your personal recollection of these aspects of his nature?
First part, focus on what you want.
Yeah, I have recalled in an article of Sri Ratan Tata sir of how he wants to make a change, like for making a change and perspective of looking at things.
His whole life is all about that. His whole corporate life, you look into himself, he emerged, how he emerged.
Yeah, I want some of your personal recollections, sir.
That's very, very simple. One, aim high. What you want to achieve, not just for yourself. Ratan Tata never thinks for himself, not even for his own industry. But I said, you see, for the nation as a whole. So where you want your nation to be, where you want your industry to be, where you want your company to be, where you yourself want to be, you have that ambition. Having had it, prepare your ground very well. You have to change. Without change, you see, nothing can achieve. So change, how do we change? Change the laws. As I said, he supported change of the entire laws of India. He was very much involved in that. Change the laws, change the ecosystem, change everything, change the environment. Whatever you can change, you change. Take the leadership and bring about that kind of a change. Now, how executives like Chandrasekhar and Narendran have been brought, removing very senior people and all that. You look at only the competence. You recognize what is needed, not merely a change for change. To achieve that change, what kind of people you want to be as tools of change, instruments of change, engines of change. Decide upon that, bring them in. And then give them all the kind of support and all that, evaluate, assess them. And if they are successful, support them. If they are not successful, remove them. He has shown all that. So his life is full of examples that change has to be done, all for the positive. All efforts must be done. Professionally, it must be handled. And you have got to work very hard to achieve that. You can't get the result. If you make a change, you cannot get the result now. You have to wait for the result to come. Until then, have the patience, have the resilience, and then the change will start giving you the positive results in course of time. As now Tatas have come to a stage, nobody can question, nobody can touch Tatas now. Undoubtedly, any amount of Dhirubhai Ambani's or Birlas and all that, they have consolidated so strongly well. It is easy for the successor only to walk in and manage those companies. That is the lesson that you have to learn. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
One quick one on, so if you listen to some of his speeches, especially to students, he ends it, a lot of speeches he ends it with the same note, saying that be the best version of what you can be and create wealth and smiles for people around you. So that itself is a message.
Thank you so much, sir.
Mr. Dinesh Thampi wants to leave with the approval of all of you. Had an urgent meeting at 2 o'clock.
Thank you so much, sir. We were extremely grateful to have your presence with us today.
You can continue with your queries.
You can ask anything you want. You are two management experts, two brilliant executives who have been hugely successful, both in business executive position, management, consulting, and whatnot. So great
Good afternoon,
opportunity
sirs and madam. My name is Nisti Joni, and my question is, it is said that Mr. Sri Ratan Tata is a fierce capitalist who is driven by a heart. So how can businesses learn from this approach?
Something gets missed when you ask that, so come a little closer. We heard that he's a capitalist, fine. Fierce capitalist, yeah.
Yeah, so it is said that Mr. Sri Ratan Tata is a fierce capitalist driven by a deeply socialist heart. So how can businesses learn from this approach?
Fierce capitalist?
With a deeply socialist heart.
Deeply socialistic at heart, okay.
Yeah, so how can businesses learn from this approach?
Yeah, there is no controversy on that. There is no incompatibility in that, you see. A capitalist also has to be human. It's the first thing that everyone has shown. Take his predecessors, JRD, for example, capitalist, no doubt. Absolutely, he was against all of India's policies all through. Palkiwala, take for example, a jurist of great eminence, but a capitalist. He was himself chairman of many companies as vice chairman of the Tata Group, hugely capitalist. But, you know, they all were having the interest of the people at mind. So that is very essential. All of them were there. Ganesh Shyam Das Birla, G.D. Birla, who brought a Birla to what it is now, the famous Birla. He gave blank checkbook to Mahatma Gandhi. You write whatever you want, the amount you take it. Blank checkbook to Mahatma Gandhi, you take any amount you want for, you see, the sake of India. So they all had that concern for the people. And Ratan Tata, of course, as an embodiment of all these human values. He had that very kind heart at him. Very under 2008 was mentioned. You see, when the Tata, the Bombay, the Taj Hotel was attacked, you know, had that terrorist attack, he was in the front helping people, not only at that point, even after that. So many a time when calamities and catastrophes have befallen on Tata House or on people around, he was all there in the front to help people. His life itself is an example of what social service is all about. So there is no lack of matching, incompatibility by being a socialist or a capitalist. Bill Gates, for example, you take that, hugely capitalistic. What happened now? He's entirely into philanthropic work. Narayana Murthy, Infosys, who made thousands and thousands of crores of rupees. All his co-founders made thousands. All his co-founders have formed their own trust now. They are all into social responsibility activities. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Good question, but you must all remember this. Even when you grow, you have this in your mind. Okay, you grow high and high, not only for your positions. You've got to carry others with you. You've got to look for the society around and give back at every point of time what you have. Only that success is permanent.
Good afternoon all. My name is Rosemary Paul. So I just want to know, as a young manager, how can we follow in the footsteps of Sri Ratan Tata and carry forward his values into our roles?
Youngest manager amongst us will answer.
No, I think, see, I'm above 50, I'm no more young. So, but I think one of those things that you get tutored in Tata during the induction programs is, once you are around 21 years old, and all of you are more than 21 here, you know what is right in your heart. Try to, yeah, sit down. Right. Try to maximize, you may not be always able to do the right thing, but try to maximize the number of times you do the right thing. So that is something which you should keep in your mind, because your mind will tell you whether you're doing the right thing or the wrong thing. At times you may be forcefully doing something which is not pleasant to you, but try to maximize the number of times that you do the right things. The second thing is, you need to be a long, a full life education guy. I mean, whatever you've done is just a foundation of life. You need to keep on learning, and that urge to learn should always be there in you. And it's super important that you retain that always. A lot of, when we go for these campus interviews, a lot of students ask us, what do you look for? So I tell them that we don't really look for academic qualifications. Your marks will tell us that, or your teachers would have done the right, We are not really worried about asking you about things which you don't know. So we won't ask you the spelling of Flossinaucy Hilipilification or capital of Czechoslovakia and all that. No point in asking you that, because it's not of use to us. But we want to know whether you will integrate with the place that we work in. Are you the right fit for some of them? So how do you become the right fit? You take a lot of initiative, you have that drive to learn more, and again, as Mr. Tata says, try to be the best version of yourself. And when you are young, you should have aspirations right up there. So whether it is climbing the Himalayas or becoming the richest person in the world, there should not be any boundaries to the dreams that you have at this age.
See, one thing I want to add, as young people as you are, today sky is the limit for you, unlike in our days. My days or their days, next generation. There is a limit beyond which we could not perhaps have gone. But today that is not the case. You look at Chandrasekhar, for example, Tata's, you see. 10 years ago, he would have been drawing less than 2 crores. Today, he is drawing 138 crores. There are many Indians all over the world, in this country itself, who are in their late 30s, early 40s, who are drawing 30 crores, 40 crores, 50 crores, 100 crores in India itself. They were all like you, coming from ordinary background. Some of you are from good background, not even that. Ordinary background, villages, ordinary type of schools, colleges. But then they have been ambitious at all the time. Very ambitious. You do your MBA here. You work for 2, 3, 4 years in a good company. You learn as much as you can. You remain flexible, adaptable to changes. You absorb as much as you can, take for the next change for the better if you think something else can offer you. Go for another advanced MBA abroad if you can. Nothing wrong in that. 1 year, 6 months, 1.5 years. Get the MBA from the best universities possible. Harvard, Cornell, Princeton, Carnegie Mellon, Stanford, name it. Instead, they all will receive you. Have your MBA, start. By the time 30, you would have added value, not by in monetary terms alone. With rich experience, and you will climb higher and higher and higher. Nobody can stop you. So there are don't put, barriers in your own career. Think always that you can grow, grow, grow. Intellectually, you must grow. You must have full control over your mind. Body, mind, and the intellect, absolute harmonious blend. You must have control over yourself at all point of time. Not to be upset about any several failures you will face in life. Managers fail, but one failure will take you to much higher success. Success is waiting for you. So grab that when the opportunity comes. Ratan Tata could not have said, no, I don't want to be chairman and all that. Sir, please. There are many young elder people. I would have perhaps done that. You at that age, you see, 1991, I would have been 46, 47, he would have been 50, 51. 51 marking chairman of Tata Sons, I would have ran away. Resigned and run away. Took it up. He had faith himself. confidence in himself. He told JRD, if you feel I can do it, I will do it. So that kind of, you see, that aspirational objectives you should have, and faith in yourself, confidence in yourself. Nothing is impossible for you. I tell you, nothing is impossible for you. From our own experience, I'm 82 now, nothing is impossible for you. All these young people, how they have reached that heights, they have not stopped at it. Who knows where they will all end up by the time they are in their 60s or even late 50s. So that, therefore, these are all examples for you to learn in life. Continue to strive, but learn as much as not theory. Practical, experiential learning, hands-on is very important. Technology is very important. Remain up to date all the time. Read. And be always flexible also. Today, industry, you may be in finance. Tomorrow, you may be in marketing. Day after tomorrow, you are in HR. You are good for everything. Don't think you are good only for HR or only for marketing. You are good for everything. Have that feeling, and then you will reach heights. Thank you.
You have a question? Standing up.
Madam will answer. Whatever is the question, Madam will answer. Come on. One last question.
So, good morning all. I'm Mohammed Sufyan of STMB. So, all of the speakers who have worked and involved in Tata have been speaking about very rudely in depth about their trade values they got from Tata. As a badge, ma'am was speaking about it posting on the shoulder, like whomever wants work in Tata, it's like a privilege to talk and talk. So what I want to know as a management student, like me as a manager, or getting into an organization, how can I implement those trade values? Let it be Tata or any other organization, getting onto that core and that root, how to indulge on that. So what I would like to know.
How can...
Sir, actually, you know, why I said I'll speak after sir is, I have one sentence or only few words to tell you. My young friend, wherever you are, and for all of you, it doesn't matter which organization you work for or your own organization that you set up. The total life of Mr. Tata can be summed up by just following his path. As I said, the best tribute we can pay to him is to live by his values. He's always urged us to build trust with ethical behavior. We are, Tata Consultancy Services is a public limited company. We are public enterprises. We have a balance sheet. We have shareholders to meet every quarter, customers to answer, projects to run. But of paramount importance, I repeat, is build trust with ethical behavior.
See, there is nothing, in fact, there is nothing like a Tata philosophy. The Tata core philosophy is built on values. The values are the human values, all of them have talked about it. These human values are not specific or unique to Tatas. That applies to all your organization. Wherever you are, first, of course, each organization has its philosophy. But the methodology will be all the same. Path will be the same. Righteousness, truth, uprightness, fairness, integrity. These are the things which are indispensable for any organization to grow and any individual to grow. So, if you accept that, you have to train yourself. Personal greed apart, personal desires apart, complete sacrifice for common good. Refine yourself. These are all the things. These are the things one has to learn. And then go what is right, discrimination. Ability to discriminate between the right and the wrong. Many of us come in, we are in the crossroads. You can go this way, you can go there. Small little things, you go. Why did that PP Divya character go and speak like that? She perhaps would not have meant all that. She would never have meant that somebody will go and commit suicide. So some failure to make a qualitative judgment. If you are upright, honest, sincere, forthright, have values in life, you will always behave like that in all your So that is what Tatas have done. Tatas are showing the way for all the industries to follow. Unfortunately, 90% of the Indian industries do not believe in those values. Many of the industries that you see today who have come up to the topmost position, we know how they have achieved that. Not through the way how the Tatas have come. Tatas is the only shining example where even by upholding such values, you can achieve success, unblemished success. I'll tell you a story. Krishna Kumar, who was right-hand man of Tata's, a good personal friend of mine, who headed Tata Tea and several other companies in the Tata board, he was arrested. He was arrested by somebody wanted to frame Krishna Kumar and Tata's, and then lot of allegations against him. He was, 1 or 2 days he was even in the prison, jail, and he got the bail out of that. And when Ratan came to know about that, he wrote a personal letter to the chief minister of that state. A person in Tata's will not do that. He written that. I know Krishna Kumar cannot do that. He will not do that. That kind of a thing that you are alleging, which I am sure he will not do. Please don't touch my officers. Matter closed. That is the courage of his conviction. That is his faith, which is ordained for the organization. What became the organizational culture. That's a simple lesson for all of you. Okay, thank you.
Thank you all for honoring this tribute with your insightful questions and reflections. Your engagement has made this session even more inspiring and memorable. Before we conclude this remarkable event, I invite Dr. Mini PR, whose dedicated service spans over 25 years. She has been instrumental in establishing the Electronics and Communication Engineering Department and leading FISAT to excellence. We now request Dr. Mini PR, Vice Principal, to deliver the vote of thanks. Ma'am, please.
Respected dignitaries on and off the dais, a very good afternoon to one and all. I join the millions of Indians who felt that we had lost a member of our own family with the passing of Mr. Ratan Tata. And it's a privilege for me to be part of this function where we pay tribute to him. Coming to my assigned duty, I deem it an honor to thank our chairman, Mr. Shimit PR, for all the guidance and the support given to FISAT and for the conduct of this function. Thank you, sir. I'm extremely privileged to thank Mr. Venugopal C. Govind, Chairman, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan, for sharing with us the qualities which Mr. Ratan Tata embodied and for also sharing the growth of the Tata Group and the industrial scenario in our country. Thank you, sir, for being part of this function. I also thank Mr. Dinesh Thambi, Vice President and Delivery, Mr. Vice President and Delivery Head, TCS, for being part of this function and also sharing the values, the 5 values which the Tata Group stands for. Thank you, sir, in his absence. I thank Ms. Sujata Madhav Chandran for choosing FISAT as the venue for organizing this function and also for sharing her experiences in TCS. Thank you, ma'am. I thank Mr. Rajesh Nair, partner, EY, for all the wonderful anecdotes shared to us and also for the wonderful responses that you gave to our students. Thank you, sir. I thank our management committee members, Mr. Abdul Nasser, Associate Secretary, Governing Body FBOES, Mr. George C. Chaco, Member, Governing Body FBOES, Mr. Papachan Vio, Governing Body FBOES, for their presence here today. Thank you very much, sirs. I thank Mr. Abraham Tarian, former MD Federal Bank, for being present here today. So your presence is very important for us today. Thank you. I also thank our principal, Dr. Jacob Thomas, Dean, Dr. Unikarta, Director FBS, Dr. Elizabeth George, all heads of departments, colleagues, and students for your presence. And dear students, thank you very much for the very good interaction that you had today. Let us all uphold the values that Mr. Ratan Tata had shown us and let us grow as a country in his remembrance. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind words. Ladies and gentlemen, as we draw this beautiful tribute to a close, let us take a moment to reflect on the incredible legacy and impact of Mr. Ratan Tata. Through the stories, memories, and heartfelt words shared today, we have painted a picture of a life that has inspired, uplifted, and deeply touched each one of us.
Let's carry forward the values and lessons we have learned from him, allowing them to guide us as we move forward. His influence remains alive in our hearts and actions, shaping who we are and how we aspire to live.
Thank you all for being here, for your time, for your love, and for joining us in this celebration of a truly remarkable personality. May we each leave here today feeling uplifted, inspired, and ready to make a difference, just as Sri Ratan Tata would have wanted us to do. We request you all to please rise for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you once again. Have a delightful day.